Gentlemen, I just have the camera up on my desk and I'm just filming our screen. So if you flip to mid-unit review, and we're looking for the one that has squares and square roots on it. So what we're going to do, we're just going to do these one at a time. Today we're going to go over some of this. I'm not doing absolutely everything on here. I'm just going to touch on each one, do 1AB, 2AB, things like that. I'll do it all over on the desktop there. Save your questions for after because it's just going to be a demo. This video will be loaded up, and then when I hit stop, we can sit and have a little club and you can ask all sorts of questions in case you're curious about this. Now first, just to verify, these are all practice materials for you, so you'll have me doing this with you, and you also have some stuff from the textbook assigned as well. So first, which numbers below are perfect squares? A perfect square is a number that can be boiled down to its root with a whole number. So for example, here I have a square. Now this square has 4 squares in it. So this is 2 squared, which is equal to 2 times 2, or 4. 4 is a perfect square. If I were to say what is the square root of 4? What's the square root of 4? Call it up. 2. 2, you got it. So that's 2, square root of 4 is 2, and that is a whole number. So other numbers, 25, well that's just like 5 times 5. The square root of 25 is 5. This is called a perfect square. So when we look here, 15. There is no number times itself that equals 15 unless you get into a tiny little decimal. If it was 16, well, that would be easy. You could boil it down to a square root of 4. So for example, if I had a square that has 16 squares in it, come on, focus now. There we go. This is 16, the square root would be 4. So 16 is a perfect square. I can't make a perfect square with 15 squares. So you can see 15, not a perfect square. 26, can I get a perfect square out of 26? No, I can't. Can I make a perfect square out of 65? Is there a number close to there that I can make a perfect square? 64, 8 times 8, right? How about 100? Is 100 a perfect square?
10 times 10.
10 times 10, you got it. So we got perfect square, not these. Find a square root of each number. We see 16 here. There's 16. The square root of 16 equals 4. This is the root from which the square grows. 49. What's the square root of 49? What times itself equals 49? Is that a perfect square? So what number should I look for? 7, you got it. If I drew a square that was 7 by 7, it would have 49. So for each of these, you're trying to find what times itself equals that number. Find 11 squared. Now let's take a look. 11 squared. Wait, 11 squared. Doesn't that mean 11 times 11? The 2 tells me how many times itself. So that equals 121. So the answer here, 121. Oop, now we're into blur lines. There we go. Now this is that funny looking division thing. Remember, that's a little different than division. That's square root. So if I have a square with 64 squares, wait, I think this square is 64 squares. 1, 2, here, hold on. Down here. This one has 64 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this has 64 squares. What do you call the root? How much? 8, you got it. So let's go back to 3b. The square root of 64 would be 8. I think this one might be 13. Let's see. 13 I think that's 13. I think this one is 15, if I recall correctly. Copy each square on a 1 centimeter grid. Find the area of each square. What's the area of this one? 16, you got. Find the side length. Well, this is 16, so the side length, or the root, would be 4. This has 64 squares, and the side length would be 8. Oh, you can't quite see that. Side length would be 8. List the factors of each number before, from least to greatest. It says, which of the numbers are square numbers? How do you know? When you list factors, remember you're doing it like this. If I'm listing the factors of 216, of course I've got 1 times 216. I can say 2 times 113. And then I keep going up. If a number is a perfect square, at some point I will get to the same number on both. So for example, if I list the factors of 49. So let's get the factors of 49. 1 times what?
49.
Can I do it 2 times?
No.
Can I do it 3 times?
Maybe.
I can do 30, no, 4 times? 5?
No.
6?
Maybe.
7?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look at this. That could make a perfect square, couldn't it? So this one, it just says, list all the factors. If you end up to 2 factors that are the same, you have a perfect square number. Okay, find the area of a square, or the area of a square is 24 centimeters. What is its side length? Well, watch this. I'm going to make a square that has 5. 5, 5. How many squares in a 5 by 5?
25.
Oh, you moved my camera there. Can you adjust it back so it, can you check so it's on the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So if I make a square of 24 centimeters, am I going to get a clean, perfect square out of it? No. The side length of a, so it says, why is the side length not a whole number? Well, because I can't make a perfect square out of 24. I know 25 does, but I can't out of 24. This says the side length of a square is 9 centimeters. What's its area? So that means I've got a square. And it says that this is 9 centimeters. How many of you right now could tell me the area of that square? Only 2 of you? 3 of you? 4 of you?
Maybe.
Alright.
80.
Well, what's this side? How much is this?
Oh, yeah, never mind.
It's an 81.
9. Yeah, so you got 81 centimeters squared. There you
Yeah,
go.
cool.
I thought you were talking
9
about
squared equals 81.
I thought you were talking about the one below.
There you go. Alright, check this one out. 12 times 12.
That's like 132.
12.
It would be
What am
144.
I saying?
But isn't it
What's the square root of 144 then?
12?
12. If this goes square root, well, what's the square root of 34 times 34?
34.
It's just 34.
That's
Because we eliminated one. Okay. So, let's see, between which 2 consecutive whole numbers does each one lie? This is where our initial lesson stopped. So let's take a look. 65, let's look at that. So it says, which 2 consecutive whole numbers does each square root lie? Let's see what this means. Is there a perfect square close to 65?
yes.
What is it?
8.
Oh, like a square root of 8? Okay, so could I say that 64 is a perfect square number?
Yeah.
Okay, and the square root of that is 8, you said, right? Perfect. Well, what's the next perfect square number? That's 8 times 8, so what's 9 times 9? 81 is a perfect square. So what's the square root of 81? 9, okay. So we were talking about 65. What 2 whole numbers is this root between them? 8 and 9. I always like to do it like a number line. If I have 8 and 9,
12 times 5 is 65.
8.5.
What am I saying?
I'm going to put that 65. Well, that 65 is going to be way